which everything has to be approved by the legislature. And they had judges making deals, and they had electoral officials making deals, like this character in Georgia who's a disaster. And the governor's done nothing. He's done absolutely nothing. I'm ashamed that I endorsed him. But I look at what's going on. It's so terrible. I think most of them think it was a fraud. I watched you with Kelly. Look at the election. Look at the election you have coming up right now. You're using the same garbage machinery, Dominion, and she's going around Abrams. She's going around screaming that she's got 800 or 850,000 ballots. What kind of an election is this? She's going around collecting votes. What kind of an election is this? What kind of a country are we living in now where you can vote for months ahead of schedule?
So that was Donald Trump earlier this morning on Fox News, basically saying that he's ashamed of the Republican governor from Georgia, Brian Kemp, and that basically he's embarrassed that he endorsed him. It was a huge mistake to endorse him. And this is all going down to the fact that Donald Trump continues to insist that even Republican officials in Georgia, whether it's Brian Kemp or the Secretary of State Raffensperger, were basically against him, against the Republican Party, and somehow in the tank for the local Democrats and for Joe Biden in the most recent election. There's no basis to any of this. Kemp is a Trump Republican. He's not a moderate Republican. He's not a New England Republican. He is a Republican that was endorsed by Trump and was close to Trump, is a conservative guy, whatever you think of him, but he hasn't, torn down democracy in Georgia. And because he hasn't been willing to say outright that this election was pilfered from Donald Trump, now he's the enemy. And you hear it here, that Georgia, like other states, but he's focusing in on Georgia here, is like a rigged game. But this is a foolish move by Donald Trump. Because we have to be clear, Georgia's the only major election coming up in the next few weeks with the Senate runoff. In less than 3 months, in less than 2 months, there's going to be 2 crucial Senate races in Georgia. And frankly, if Donald Trump and the Republicans lose both of those, the Senate will be 50-50 and it will go to the Democrats on the tiebreaker. Kamala Harris, as the new VP, and she will be VP, will break the tie. And so what Donald Trump is doing right now is casting all sorts of divisions within the Republican Party in the most crucial state over the next couple of months. A state that he just barely lost, and obviously the Republicans could win again in a subsequent election. He's creating this basic civil war in his own party. And it's going to demoralize people. It's going to tear the party apart. It's going to convince some Republicans that there's no point in actually acting in Georgia because apparently the game is done. It's predetermined. The deep state has taken it from them. And so they're not going to participate, which even if you don't like Trump supporters, you can admit is bad for democracy if people feel like it doesn't matter because from the beginning it was sort of predetermined by the powers that be, quote unquote. And that's what Trump is creating here. 100%. And we also have to realize that this isn't the first time this has happened. Just yesterday, Ronna McDaniel, the head of the GOP, the head of the National Republican Party, basically, came to Georgia and did a press conference with Trump supporters. And some of them in the room were basically saying, why should we vote in the runoff? The runoff's decided. It's predetermined. They took it from Trump. They're going to take it from Loeffler and they're going to take it from Perdue. And she had to basically say, no. Please vote. Please still believe this is real. Please still believe that this election is legitimate. Because if you don't, we're definitely going to lose those Senate seats to Democrats who do believe the election is real and do believe it matters and do believe all these sorts of things. And so this is what they sowed. They sowed this and now they're reaping it. Donald Trump, Republican officials, elements of the right-wing media, for weeks now, and even before the election, were saying it's all on the take. The deep state is taking it from hardworking Republican Americans, and it doesn't matter. because there's no way we can lose legitimately. And then lo and behold, Trump loses, and it's creating this absolute civil war within the Republican Party and within the conservative movement. I would love to see it, because I think there is a real chance that Donald Trump's effort to, as ever bungled as it was, to basically take the election could cost those Georgia Senate seats. If Trump was gracious in defeat, I would give an extremely tiny chance to Ossoff and Warnock actually winning those runoffs. Very tiny. But because he's whined like a baby and he's poisoned his own movement, anything can happen.